Chapter 1 My Wuhun Luo Sanpao. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Douluo Continent, Wuhun City, the annual Spirit Awakening ceremony is underway in the sun-drenched Wuhun City Square. Wang'an, Spirit, Rock Armor Wild Boar, Innate Soul Power Level 5. Xie Miao Miao, Spirit, Iron Tooth Grass, Innate Soul Power Level 4. Chen Tianhu, Spirit, Red Flame Demon Tiger, Innate Soul Power Level 7. A cardinal in red robes presides over the Spirit Awakening ceremony on a high platform. In line, a group of kids are buzzing with anticipation. What spirits will they awaken? However, one stands out, a well-built boy in a blue shirt, with short blonde hair and a handsome face, maintains a calm demeanor. His name is Gu Han, and he's a time traveler. Gu Han doesn't know how he traveled through time. He only knows that he was binge-watching the Douluo Continent anime right before it happened. He was tired, took a nap, and woke up as a baby in the Wuhun City orphanage. But hey, at least he landed in the Wuhun City orphanage. Otherwise, Gu Han figures he'd be struggling to survive in this world, just like Tang San. What spirit am I going to get? Watching the Spirit Awakenings on the platform, Gu Han mused to himself. Although he's an orphan in the Wuhun City orphanage, unlike most others, his parents weren't Spirit Hall masters. The dean told him he was rescued from an evil Spirit Master's lair by the Spirit Hall's Holy Light Angel law enforcement team. The mention of evil Spirit Master caught Gu Han off guard. He remembered that they supposedly didn't show up until the second Douluo series. He didn't expect to find them in Douluo 1, but thinking about it, it makes sense. Evil Spirit Masters come about from mutated spirits, and mutations happen naturally. Why wouldn't they have existed before? It's just that, in Gu Han's opinion, the Spirit Hall kept them under wraps back then. But in the sequel, without the Spirit Hall's iron fist, Trek Academy couldn't do anything, leading to the evil Spirit Masters running rampant and gaining notoriety. Because he came from that nest, Gu Han guessed his parents were probably just regular folks, not soul masters. Following the rules of this world, his chances of becoming a Spirit Master were slim, since he pretty much knew the outcome. Gu Han didn't have high hopes for his Spirit Awakening. Don't time travelers usually get some kind of cheat? A system would be awesome. He couldn't help but think, he's 6 years old and about to awaken his spirit, but still no sign of any special advantage. The internet lied. After a few hours of waiting, it was finally Gu Han's turn to step on stage for the awakening. Following the Cardinal's instructions, Gu Han walked into the Spirit Awakening array and closed his eyes. The Cardinal poured soul power into the array. 6 black pebbles arranged in a hexagram. Golden light burst from the stones, pouring into Gu Han's body. A wave of warmth washed over him. Then, a mechanical voice echoed in his mind. Ding! Active energy detected and being absorbed. The Tianyan system is opening 1%, 2%, 3%. 100%. System activation complete. Welcome to use the Tianyan system. What? A system? The sudden surprise caught Gu Han totally off guard, eyes still tightly shut. It's about time. What took you so long? The Cardinal's voice broke through his thoughts. Summon your spirit. Having already sensed the spirit within him, Gu Han snapped open his eyes. Following the connection, he focused. In a flash of purple light, a bizarre creature appeared. It was pig-like, small, covered in light purple fur, with wide ears, a chubby body, and a pair of deep blue eyes that seemed remarkably intelligent. As soon as it manifested, it squealed Lao Lao and rubbed against Gu Han's legs. Is that Luo Sanpao? Seeing that he had summoned the infamous Luo Sanpao, Gu Han was dumbstruck. Weren't his parents supposed to be civilians? How could he have the same spirit as Yu Xiaogang? Could one of them actually be a member of the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex clan? The Cardinal stared at Luo Sanpao, mouth agape. What was that beast spirit? How could it have a physical body and move on its own? Meanwhile, in the VIP section, when Bibi Dong saw Gu Han summon Luo Sanpao, sitting on her throne in a dark purple robe and a jeweled scepter, her beautiful face was stirred, eyes wide. Your Majesty the Pope, Ju Douluo Yuguan, standing beside her, whispered, should I arrange for this child to meet with you? Bibi Dong didn't answer. She just gripped her scepter, staring at Luo Sanpao in the square. a storm of emotions on her face, nostalgia, pain, memories. Finally, her composure returned, she inhaled deeply, and said softly. Yes, bring him to me. I'll wait in the pavilion. Kid, your spirit is unique. Let's test your soul power. Back in the square, stunned, the cardinal watched Luo Sanpao happily rub against Gu Han's legs. He then grabbed a dark blue soul power testing crystal ball and handed it to Gu Han. Gu Han sighed, expectations low. He knew all too well that his Luo Sanpao was the degraded version of the blue lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex spirit after a failed golden holy dragon evolution. A half-level of innate soul power would be a miracle. Yu Xiaogang, born into the blue lightning Tyrannosaurus clan, had access to the best resources, and he only had a half-level. Gu Han was an orphan. Life at the orphanage was comfortable, but no more than that. He would be lucky to get 0.25. The test confirmed his suspicions. You are a quarter of a level. After Gu Han touched the ball, it barely emitted any light. The cardinal stared for a long time before announcing Gu Han's level, a strange look on his face. You. He didn't know what to say, never in his life had he seen someone with such a low level of soul power. Gu Han's spirit was strange enough as it was. The weak power level just piled on the disappointment. Didn't the dean say he was a child prodigy, smart and clever? Was all that a lie? This spirit is practically useless. Yeah. A waste is a waste. So much for genius. In the crowd, jealous orphans ridiculed Gu Han's spirit power, but Gu Han paid them no mind, especially now that he had activated the system. Even without it, Gu Han wasn't as useless as Yu Xiaogang. Having read the entire Douluo Continent series, he knew exactly how to make Luo Sanpao evolve. Chapter 2 Pope Bibi Dong, Luo Sanpao's Evolution Method. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After the soul power test, surrounded by mocking remarks and stares from the other orphans, Gu Han calmly left the platform, eager to return to the orphanage and delve into the Golden Finger Tianyan system. His innate soul power was so low that the meager 0.25 level he possessed was practically depleted shortly after stepping off the stage. The Luo Sanpao martial spirit, which had materialized for a few brief minutes, dissolved into a purple light and retreated back into him. Xiao Han, hold up a sec. Just as Gu Han was about to head back, the dean stopped him. Footsteps approached. The dean arrived with a man clad in golden armor, possessing a slender build, long golden hair, and strikingly handsome, almost feminine features. Gu Han couldn't help but feel a jolt of surprise seeing him. He recognized this guy. Wasn't this Chrysanthemum Douluo Yueguan, one of the two titled Douluos from the Spirit Hall? Xiao Han. Elder Ju wants a word with you. I understand that His Holiness the Pope wishes to meet you. When you go to see her, remember your manners, okay? Reaching the group of orphans, the dean smiled, gently stroking his long white beard, and offered a kind reminder to Gu Han. Bibi Dong wants to see me. Hearing that Bibi Dong was summoning him, Gu Han sighed inwardly. He'd anticipated this. After all, Bibi Dong and Lu Erlong were both utterly infatuated with Yu Xiaogang. One was the twisted version, the other the normal one. Given their feelings for Yu Xiaogang, once they learned that he had awakened the same Luo Sanpao martial spirit, they would undoubtedly seek him out, viewing him as a substitute. If he were simply a substitute, that wouldn't be so bad. If Bibi Dong saw him as Yu Xiaojiang's replacement, she'd surely shower him with resources, but the real problem arose if Gu Han succeeded in evolving the Luo Sanpao martial spirit. What would Bibi Dong then think? Would she try to extract the evolution method from Gu Han, hand it over to Yu Xiaogang, and let him finally validate his master title? If that happened, Gu Han, the actual researcher, would be in serious trouble. This put Gu Han in an awkward position. If he could avoid it, he'd really rather not meet Bibi Dong. Unfortunately, she'd already dispatched Ju Douluo Yuguan to fetch him, leaving Gu Han no room to refuse. Refusal would be considered an insult to the Pope. Dean, Her Holiness the Pope actually wants to meet me. Gu Han's usually cold, handsome face displayed a hint of barely contained excitement, as if he were about to meet his idol. Yes. Go with Elder Ju. Little one, come with me. Yu Guan glanced at Gu Han, smiled gently, and adopted a very amiable tone. Yu Guan couldn't help but feel a surge of emotion. This little kid actually possessed the same martial spirit as that Master Yu Xiaogang. He was destined for great things. Following Ju Douluo Yueguan, Gu Han crossed the central square and arrived at a pavilion tucked away behind it. Bibi Dong was seated on a stone bench within the pavilion. Behind her, Ghost Douluo Goemei stood to her right. Seeing Bibi Dong, adorned in a luxurious purple crown, tall, curvaceous, radiantly beautiful, and exuding an elegant, noble aura, Gu Han couldn't suppress a flicker of surprise in his eyes. Crazy as she might be, Gu Han had to concede that, aesthetically, the Pope was undeniably peerless and breathtaking. Gu Han greets the Pope. Entering the pavilion and approaching Bibi Dong, Gu Han immediately bowed. No need for formalities. Come closer, let me get a good look at you. Bibi Dong's refined and pretty face broke into a gentle smile as she beckoned Gu Han. Gu Han walked over obediently. Once Gu Han was within reach, Bibi Dong picked him up and placed him on her lap. Her hands gently caressed Gu Han's smooth, small face. Her beautiful face was full of memories and sadness. Your name is Gu Han, is that right? I'll call you Xiao Han. I hear your martial soul is quite unique. A beast martial soul with self-awareness and substance. May I see it? After a moment of stroking Gu Han, Bibi Dong smiled and asked. Of course, Your Holiness. But my soul power is a bit low, and summoning my martial soul does consume some energy. I might not be able to sustain it for very long. Gu Han scratched his head, feigning embarrassment. That's of no consequence. I've simply heard about its uniqueness and wished to behold it. Bibi Dong smiled softly, just because you want to see my martial soul. Who are you kidding? Gu Han was rendered speechless by Bibi Dong's words, but he maintained his innocent facade and summoned the Luo Sanpao martial spirit. As the Luo Sanpao materialized, resembling a purple plush pig, Gu Han directed it to toddle towards Bibi Dong. Bibi Dong's eyes grew misty with emotion. After setting Gu Han down, she immediately embraced Luo Sanpao. Xiaogang. Gently stroking Luo Sanpao's soft, furry body, Bibi Dong's beautiful eyes turned red and clouded with tears as she murmured in a low voice, hearing Bibi Dong caress the Luo Sanpao spirit and whisper, Xiaogang, Ju Douluo Yueguan and Ghost Douluo Goemei, standing behind her, lowered their heads respectfully. After caressing Luo Sanpao for a while, Bibi Dong shook off her reverie, took a deep breath, fixed her beautiful eyes on Gu Han, and asked with a smile. Xiao Han, what are your thoughts on your martial soul? While it's certainly unique, your innate soul power is a bit low, only 0.25 level. What are your plans for the future? Facing Bibi Dong's question, Gu Han couldn't help but smile with confidence. Your Holiness, I believe my martial soul is quite special. Though my innate soul power is a mere level 0.25, I was told by the Cardinal who awakened it. That my martial soul is the first materialized beast martial soul with a conscious mind, just like a real creature. If it's like a real creature, I wonder if it can grow stronger by feeding it the right stuff. If that works, my martial soul might be the first martial soul in history to evolve by eating. This was the strategy Gu Han had devised to evolve the Luo Sanpao martial spirit, drawing upon the lore from the DouluoDalu novels and animated series he'd read in his previous life. In his view, as the only beast martial soul with a materialized body and self-awareness in Douluo Continent, the Luo Sanpao martial spirit held immense potential, as in the novel. Before unleashing the fart-powered soul skill, Yu Xiaogang fed Luo Sanpao white radishes to enhance the ability, but since Luo Sanpao could eat, why not feed it precious medicinal herbs, like ginseng and lingji? In the novel, since Yu Xiaogang could take the 9th grade purple lingji and break through level 30, with the Luo Sanpao martial soul gradually evolving into the golden holy dragon in later stages, couldn't this mean that by feeding Luo Sanpao precious spiritual herbs and medicinal plants from the start, its martial soul could be evolved much earlier? Unfortunately, Yu Xiaogang had never considered it, focusing only on feeding Luo Sanpao white radishes to make it fart. that likely worsened Luo Sanpao's qualifications even further. He proclaimed himself a master of martial soul theory, yet dismissed Luo Sanpao as a mutant martial soul that defied conventional understanding. But since conventional martial soul theory couldn't explain it, shouldn't he, the supposed martial soul master, have studied it further? This was his own martial soul. Even his own martial soul, he didn't bother to study or explore its properties, despite it being demonstrably exceptional. Yu Xiaogang's reputation as the clown master in the soul master world was, in Gu Han's opinion, entirely justified. Chapter 3, Become a Disciple of Bibi Dong, Optimize, Deduce and Upgrade. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. This, Bibi Dong was taken aback by Gu Han's statement. His reasoning actually tracked with Luo Sanpao's abilities, but Xiaogang, who also had the same martial soul, hadn't considered this angle. It bothered Bibi Dong. Could it be that the great scientist she'd admired was outsmarted by a kid? She quickly dismissed the thought, chalking it up to Xiaogang's harsh upbringing. The Blue Lightning Tyrant sect had probably never given him the chance to experiment. She didn't want him dwelling on it. Still, what if he was right? Bibi Dong felt a surge of excitement. If this method could unlock Luo Sanpao's potential, then sharing the secret with Xiaogang would cement his reputation as a master. He would be eternally grateful. But as she looked at Gu Han, a shadow flickered in her gentle eyes. If this kid was right, then for Xiaogang's sake, she might have to. The dark thought vanished as quickly as it appeared. Bibi Dong's elegant face regained its familiar, gentle smile. Xiao Han, you're quite talented. You remind me of an old friend. You both share that persistence, that belief that there are no useless martial souls, only useless soul masters. Would you consider becoming my disciple? Your idea is sound. If you're willing to study with me, I can help you prove your theory and evolve your martial soul. Bibi Dong's words dripped with sweet temptation. Gu Han, having already considered the consequences, had decided to play along. His martial soul was Luo Sanpao, after all. Bibi Dong would figure it out eventually. He needed a way to make Luo Sanpao stronger, but without resources, he was stuck. He had to hitch his wagon to Bibi Dong to get what he needed. It might be risky being her apprentice, but he knew about the cold-blooded nature hidden beneath her kind facade. If he was careful, he'd be fine. Once he leveled up Luo Sanpao enough, he'd find a way out of Wuhun City. Your Highness, do you really want to take me on as a disciple? Gu Han feigned excitement. Of course. Call me teacher from now on. Bibi Dong beamed. Teacher. Gu Han acted as if he was over the moon, bowing deeply. In Douluo Continent, no one expected him to hit the floor 3 times. Gu Han wasn't as stubborn as Tang San, who wants to grovel. After Gu Han became her disciple, Bibi Dong presented him with a couple of gifts, the keys to a small house in Wuhun City and a storage ring. She asked him to get settled in his new home. Gu Han politely left and headed back to the orphanage. Everyone stared as he walked through the door, green with envy. The whispers followed him. All the orphans were upset that Gu Han had been summoned by Pope Bibi Dong. Gu Han, they thought, was a nobody with hardly any soul power. How could the Pope possibly give him the time of day? Gu Han ignored them. Xiao Han, what did the Pope want? The Dean approached him, looking curious. Gu Han had respect for the Dean, who'd always looked out for him. Dean, Her Holiness the Pope summoned me because my martial soul is unique. It's a materialized beast martial soul with self-awareness. She wanted to see it up close. Oh. I see. The Dean nodded, understanding. Gu Han continued, addressing the other orphans. Her Holiness the Pope asked what I thought of my martial soul. I told her I thought it had potential to evolve, and that I had a theory on how to do it. She seems to like my idea, so she's taken me on as a disciple and will help me test my hypothesis. What? The other orphans were livid. They gasped, jealousy practically radiating off them. Gu Han smiled inwardly. Go ahead and mock me. No matter how smart you are, trash is still trash. Today, I'll prove that brains win out. How's that for angering you? Congratulations, Xiao Han. The Dean was thrilled for Gu Han. If he hadn't been accepted as a disciple, he probably wouldn't have even become a soul master. He would have been kicked out of Wuhun City as soon as he turned of age. Oh, the Pope also gave me a house. I'm here to say goodbye. Gu Han added, under the orphan's envious gazes. Gu Han smiled calmly and left the orphanage. Bibi Dong's gift was exactly what he needed. The courtyard was spotless, the flowers, plants, and trees were well manicured, and the rooms were filled with new bedding. It didn't look like anyone had ever lived there. Gu Han was confused. He looked around before plopping down on the bed and preparing to study the Tianyan system. System, what can you do? Gu Han asked silently. Ding. This system has three major functions: optimization, deduction, and upgrading. The optimization function can analyze everything, remove impurities, and compensate for defects. The deduction function can create projects, improve data, and deduce methods. The upgrade function can upgrade items, strengthen abilities, and break through limits. It is detected that the host is using this system for the first time. The system is giving a novice gift package, Tianyan Opportunity X3. Do you want to accept it? The system's cold, mechanical voice echoed in his mind. At the same time, information flooded into Gu Han's brain, detailing the system's three major functions. The optimization function could analyze anything and remove impurities from the body and martial soul to improve his cultivation and help his martial soul evolve. The deduction function could discover new skills and martial arts. The upgrade function could level up his soul rings and soul bones. Gu Han was impressed. This system was powerful, but how should he use the 3 Tianyan points? Chapter 4, Make Up for the Shortcomings, Waves Rise in Wuhun City. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Gu Han sank into thought. First off, he decided against using his Tianyan points to purify his martial soul, Luo Sanpao. Even though the system claimed it would instantly evolve Luo Sanpao into a golden holy dragon, Gu Han knew better. If he let Luo Sanpao evolve tonight, Bibi Dong would probably snatch him up tomorrow night, lock him away in some secret room, and grill him about how he evolved his martial soul. And the reason for all that? Yu Xiaogang, of course. So, Gu Han made his decision. He'd use one of those 3 Tianyan points on the optimization function, patching up his body's flaws and boosting his natural talent. As for the other 2, he'd use them for the deduction function, one for a soul power cultivation method and the other for a body training method. The first would speed up his training, and the second would boost his fighting skills and soul ring absorption limit, raising his overall potential. However, the deduction function needed data, which meant Gu Han would have to gather it, essentially standing in for the system. So, for now, he couldn't deduce the right soul power or body training methods. System, Gu Han said immediately, use 1 Tianyan point. I want to optimize my body's talent. Ding. System scanning host's body. Detected 9527 blood defects and 4396 physical defects. Do you wish to correct these? Correcting these flaws will improve the host's physique to a perfect body. Expect a significant boost in training talent, along with varying degrees of improvement in physical fitness and appearance. Appearance improvement, Gu Han was surprised. Still, sounded like a good deal. Correct the defects. He said decisively, defects being corrected, 1%, 2%, 3%. As the Tianyan system announced its progress, Gu Han felt a warm current rush through him, flowing through his limbs and bones like a hot spring. He felt like shackles were breaking, his body relaxing, his mind sharpening, and his skin lightening. Ding. Defects corrected. The moment he heard the word completed, Gu Han raced to the table with the mirror. Staring back at him was a handsome young boy with light golden hair, pale skin, and rosy lips. Before, Gu Han was just cute, maybe a barely passing grade. Now, after fixing those flaws, he was definitely above a 90. In Gu Han's mind, nobody ever hits a perfect 100 in looks. Everyone has different tastes, after all. So, yeah. He was officially a heartthrob in the making. Meanwhile, back in Wuhun City, after Gu Han broke the news that Pope Bibi Dong had taken him on as a disciple, everyone was stunned. His innate soul power was only 0.25. How could the Pope take on such a loser? The rumor spread like wildfire. The Pope took a disciple with only 0.25 innate soul power. You're kidding. No way. Absolutely not. The Pope wouldn't lower herself to train someone like that. This is messed up. I have innate soul power level 8. How can this waste be a disciple and not me? Jealousy and outrage spread throughout Wuhun City. Gu Han, overnight, had become the most hated person in town. Everyone wanted to know how this nobody had managed to win over the Pope. The teacher took on another disciple. A boy. And his innate soul power is only 0.25. Hu Liena was in her courtyard, her face mirroring everyone else's shock. Bibi Dong had only taken on her as a disciple, and had rejected Hu Liena's brother, Xiaoyu, claiming she didn't like male disciples. After that, Hu Liena figured that was it, no more disciples. Now, all of a sudden, a male disciple and a terrible talent. Why would the teacher do this? Hu Liena was confused. Over at the Douluo Hall, in the Angel Church, Douluo, an impressive middle-aged man with long golden hair, was meditating before the angel statue. Footsteps echoed. A tall, muscular man with short black hair entered, his tone angry. Great priest, Bibi Dong can't let go of that scum. She just took in a kid with the same martial spirit and only 0.25 spiritual power as her disciple. Douluo opened his eyes and sighed. She can't forget that scum. Jia protected her too much, spoiled her so she's not sensible. She even tried to run away with that trash. Jia was too rough, but she wasn't worthy of our Qian family or the spirit hall. Whatever. For Shuer's sake, let her be. After a pause, Douluo spoke again. By the way, Jiang Imo, she took in a kid with that useless martial spirit. People might start gossiping about what happened back then. Go around and tell everyone who knows about it to keep their mouths shut. Don't let Shuer find out. Yes. The next morning, Gu Han woke up in his new courtyard. After his talent optimization last night, he practiced late into the night. Then, he'd crashed on the comfy bed and slept like a log. He woke up, washed up, and started to head toward the cafeteria for breakfast. Then he realized he wasn't at the orphanage anymore. Life at the orphanage wasn't great, but at least they provided food. Now that he was on his own, he had to fend for himself. Gu Han scratched his head, a wistful look on his face. Everything has its ups and downs. Chapter 5. Hu Liena, who is obsessed with looks. What? You are Gu Han. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Wuhun City, the breakfast street buzzed with vendors hawking their wares, the air thick with the aroma of delicious food. People streamed by in every direction. Since Gu Han now lived outside the orphanage, he couldn't eat there anymore. He had to walk all the way here. Uncle, 2 steamed buns and a soy milk, please. Reaching a bun shop, Gu Han reluctantly handed over a few copper soul coins. His plan was simple: 2 buns, some soy milk, and then head back home. It wasn't that he didn't want something better, he was just broke. As an orphan, the orphanage used to give him small jobs, like cleaning. For this, he would earn some copper soul coins, but after all these years, Gu Han hadn't saved much, only about a dozen. A dozen wasn't nothing, enough for a bowl of beef noodles, but spending that much felt extravagant. Now that Bibi Dong was his teacher, Gu Han planned to find ways to get some allowance money to improve his meals. Until then, he figured he should play it safe. Just then, on Breakfast Street, a striking girl arrived. She wore a white and gold dress, was tall and shapely, with fair skin, long blonde hair, and delicate features that combined purity and charm. She, too, was looking for breakfast. As Hu Liena strolled along, she almost immediately spotted Gu Han in the crowd. Ever since having his physical flaws corrected by the Tianyan system, Gu Han now had a perfect physique. His appearance and facial features were now flawlessly beautiful. He instantly caught the eye of Hu Liena, who had an appreciation for fine looks. What an adorable little brother! Hu Liena was thrilled, her eyes fixed on Gu Han, with Xiaoyu as her brother. What Hu Liena longed for most was to have a younger brother. As a model of beauty herself, Hu Liena hoped to have an extremely delicate, cute, and beautiful little boy as her younger brother. But after more than 10 years in Wuhun City, she hadn't found anyone who fit the bill. Seeing Gu Han, her instinct screamed, "He's the one." Hu Liena felt a pang of sympathy watching Gu Han, dressed in simple blue, reluctantly hand over a few copper soul coins for 2 buns and a soy milk. The poor kid can barely afford breakfast. As Gu Han turned to leave with his meager meal, Hu Liena stepped in front of him, waving her hand with a sweet smile. Hi, little brother. I'm Hu Liena. What's your name, Hu Liena? Taking a closer look, Gu Han's heart skipped a beat, and he quickly stepped back. He'd overheard people talking about him, the lucky loser who'd been accepted as Pope Bibi Dong's disciple, and their attitude hadn't been friendly. Gu Han assumed Hu Liena would be the same. What's this fox lady up to? Does she really not recognize me? Or is she toying with me? Hey, don't be nervous. I just thought you were cute and wanted to treat you to breakfast, Hu Liena said gently, noticing his wariness. You're growing, and buns and soy milk aren't enough. She really doesn't recognize me. Gu Han relaxed slightly. Still, he was curious why she was offering him breakfast. Why do you want to treat me? Because you're cute. Hu Liena said matter-of-factly. All right. Come on, let's get you something delicious. You're too skinny. She continued, this is Wuhun City, so don't worry, I'm not going to kidnap you. Her beautiful eyes filled with concern. Hu Liena took his hand, ready to take Gu Han out for a good meal. After thinking it over, Gu Han didn't refuse. Oh, by the way, what's your name? It's Han Xiaogu. An hour later, Gu Han had sampled delicacies he'd never tasted before, thanks to Hu Liena, things like crab roe buns, rainbow pudding, and delicate cakes. He'd had them in his previous life, of course, but after so many years in the Douluo Continent, Gu Han had missed these things, even simple beef noodles. Thank you, Gu Han said. Despite his confusion about her motives, he was genuinely grateful. Don't mention it. From now on, you're my little brother, Hu Liena's little brother. Where do you live? I'll take you out to dinner later. Hu Liena pinched his cheek, her face radiant with a smile. I live in the Greenleaf District, Gu Han blurted out, picturing future feasts. What a coincidence. I'm headed there too. Let's go together, and you can show me where you live. And so, they walked together. Do you know what I'm doing in the Greenleaf District? Hu Liena asked with a smile. What are you doing? Gu Han replied on cue. Hee hee. Hu Liena giggled. Did you hear about the martial soul awakening ceremony yesterday? Apparently, some loser with a soul power of 0.25 was accepted as a disciple by the old pope. Everyone's talking about it. I happen to know where he lives, and I wanted to see what made him so special that the pope took him in. She clenched her fists and waved them in the air, looking annoyed. Little loser. Gu Han thought, his lips twitching. He was sure now that she didn't recognize him. What do you think? Does this loser deserve to be the pope's disciple? Well, I think we have nothing to say about this. As they chatted, they reached a house in Greenleaf District. The house number read, number 8. Here we are. Is this it? Where's your place? Hu Liena asked, curious. Actually, this is my place. Gu Han finally confessed, pointing to the courtyard. Hu Liena's smile froze. Are you kidding me? She asked with a forced laugh. This is obviously where that loser, Gu Han, lives. It can't be you. That's not your name. Then, her eyes widened. Han Xiaogu. Gu Han. Chapter 6 Bibi Dong arrives. Let's call her Shenglong. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hey, you. Hu Liena's eyes went wide, and she pointed a finger at Gu Han, completely stunned. She couldn't believe it. Senior sister Hu Liena, I knew it was you. Didn't you recognize me? Gu Han sighed, a little helpless. You knew it was me, and you still said your name was Han Xiaogu. Hu Liena's pretty face puffed up, a little embarrassed. I was just walking around outside, and all I heard was people talking about me, and none of it was good. When I heard your name, I knew it was you, but I didn't know what you thought of me. How could I just come out and say who I really am? Gu Han looked genuinely sad. I'm just an orphan. What if you treated me like everyone else? Orphan star. hearing about Gu Han's background and seeing the sadness on his cute little face, Hu Liena felt a pang of guilt. She remembered calling him a little loser earlier and felt even worse. How could I do that, as his senior sister, Xiaohan's already had it rough. I'm a terrible person, Hu Liena almost smacked herself in the head. Xiaohan, don't worry about what I said before. I was just kidding. You're my favorite junior brother, and I'd never actually be mean to you. You're so adorable. Even if your spirit and natural talent aren't the greatest, the teacher knows what she's doing. You've got something special. The others are just jealous that you were accepted as a disciple and are spreading rumors. Hu Liena quickly reassured him, treating Gu Han like her most cherished little brother, comforting him with genuine sympathy and indignantly defending him, but Gu Han was still a little surprised by her sudden change. It reminded him of how Hu Liena's attitude toward Tang San had shifted after he awakened the Blue-Silver Emperor bloodline in the original story, even though their shared hardships in Slaughter City played a part. It also highlighted Hu Liena's thing for looks. Xiaohan, suddenly, footsteps approached. Bibi Dong, radiant in a dark purple crown robe, tall, shapely, mature, beautiful, and graceful, walked in with a smile, holding the Pope's scepter. Nana, are you here too? Bibi Dong was surprised to see Hu Liena. She hadn't expected them to be together. Teacher. X2. Surprised by Bibi Dong's arrival, Gu Han and Hu Liena turned to greet her. Teacher, please, come in. Gu Han quickly got the key, unlocked the courtyard gate, and invited Hu Liena and Bibi Dong inside. The three of them sat down in the main hall. How are you settling in, Xiaohan? After sitting, Bibi Dong held her scepter and scanned the room with eyes full of memories and nostalgia before turning to Gu Han with a smile. I'm doing great, teacher. It's way better than the orphanage. The bed is huge and so comfy to sleep in. Gu Han returned her smile respectfully. That's good. That's good. Bibi Dong sounded emotional, her tone laced with complexity. By the way, Xiaohan, can you summon your spirit and show it to me? As if struck by a sudden thought, Bibi Dong smiled gently and asked. Sure, teacher. Gu Han wasn't surprised and summoned Luo Sanpao, with a burst of purple light. A pig-like creature with a small body, covered in light purple fur, with wide, floppy ears, a slightly chubby build, and a pair of deep blue eyes, appeared before Gu Han. Under Gu Han's direction, Luo Sanpao waddled toward Bibi Dong, who picked it up and gently stroked it from head to belly. Luo Sanpao hummed with satisfaction. But as Bibi Dong petted Luo Sanpao, Gu Han couldn't help but feel a little weird and conflicted. As a spirit, Luo Sanpao was connected to Gu Han. Their senses were linked. When Bibi Dong stroked Luo Sanpao from head to belly, Gu Han felt it too. It was a strange, indescribable sensation. Xiaohan, your spirit is a variant spirit without a fixed name. Have you thought of what you want to call it? While caressing Luo Sanpao, Bibi Dong's eyes, filled with memories and regrets, suddenly looked up and asked Gu Han. The question revealed her intentions. If he said he hadn't thought of a name, she would name him Luo Sanpao, but Gu Han only called his spirit Luo Sanpao because of Yu Xiaogang. He didn't particularly like the name. After all, Yu Xiaogang called his spirit Luo Sanpao because he liked to shout Luo Luo. And it could only fart 3 times. It wasn't a great name, not lucky at all. Considering that Luo Sanpao could evolve into the Golden Holy Dragon, Gu Han responded quickly, Teacher, I've already thought of a name. It's Holy Dragon. I hope it can evolve into a Golden Holy Dragon that surpasses the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon. Holy Dragon. You hope it can evolve into a Golden Holy Dragon that surpasses the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon? That's a good name, Xiaohan. Bibi Dong's mouth twitched. She hadn't expected him to already have a name. She felt a twinge of regret but forced a smile and complimented his choice. Xiaohan, you mentioned that Holy Dragon is a martial soul with a materialized body, like a real creature. Perhaps it can evolve by eating. Have you thought about what it should eat to evolve? Having failed to name the spirit Luo Sanpao, Bibi Dong paused for a moment before continuing. Gu Han had already considered this, he had guessed it from the original story but wasn't sure if it was correct. but after obtaining the Tianyan system, he used the analytical ability of the Tianyan system optimization function. This ability was different from making up for defects and removing impurities. Simply using the analytical function without seeking system solutions didn't consume Tianyan points. The analysis confirmed his suspicions. Since Luo Sanpao's evolution path led to the golden holy dragon of light, it would be best for it to consume dragon flesh and blood of the light attribute, as well as various spirit medicines. Spiritual medicines were easy enough. But how could he explain the need for light-attributed dragon flesh and blood? He couldn't give a logical reason. So, Gu Han pretended to be distressed. "I'm sorry, teacher, I haven't thought about it yet. I don't know what martial soul my holy dragon evolved from, and I don't have all the information about it." "Don't worry. I know about it and have prepared something for you." Bibi Dong smiled faintly, took a large stack of information from her storage spirit tool, handed it to Gu Han, and said, "Your martial soul is very special, but I know its origin. This has all the information about it. Take a good look." Gu Han was shocked that she had already prepared everything. He took the information, ready to study it, but then, he noticed out of the corner of his eye that Bibi Dong was taking a white radish out of her storage spirit tool and was about to feed it to the holy dragon. "Teacher! Don't feed it that radish." Gu Han panicked and quickly stopped her, grabbing Bibi Dong's hand. Chapter 7: The Correct Way to Open. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Why can't we give it white radish? Bibi Dong had planned to feed Shenglong white radish, a little throwback to when Yu Xiaogang fed Luo Sanpao the same. Gu Han's panicked reaction took her by surprise. She frowned, her lips slightly parted, and repeated her question. "Well, teacher, it's like this." Gu Han's mind raced. He gave a helpless smile. "After I got back, I tried feeding Shenglong, too. I discovered that while it can eat, it can't, well, get rid of it. Because of that, I think it's best to stick to things that'll actually help it evolve. Regular food probably won't digest properly. It would just turn into impurities in its system. That could mess with its evolution." Asterisk impurities, Gu Han's words gave Bibi Dong pause. Her beautiful eyes filled with a complicated expression, and she murmured to herself, thinking back, Yu Xiaogang pretty much only fed Luo Sanpao white radish. Could that be why it never evolved and just farted? Had Xiaogang inadvertently filled Luo Sanpao with junk? There was no real way for her to know, but after just a couple of interactions, Bibi Dong had to admit it. Her new disciple was far better than her old flame when it came to researching and understanding martial souls. It left a strange taste in her mouth. It was like finding out that her all-time favorite idol had been outdone by some random understudy she'd picked up. "Look over this material carefully. Next time I'm here, tell me what you need to help your martial soul evolve, and I'll get the resources ready for you." Bibi Dong took a deep breath and stood up. The dark purple of her crown robe emphasized her tall, curvy figure, and her long, wine-red hair made her skin look impossibly white. She paused. "I'm going." Gu Han and Hu Liena were quick to stand and escort her to the door, watching until she was completely out of sight. After seeing her off, Gu Han was eager to get back and study the info Bibi Dong had given him. "Xiao Han, did the teacher accept you because you found a way to evolve your martial soul?" Hu Liena followed, her face brimming with curiosity. "Yeah, but more than anything, the teacher believes in me." Gu Han nodded, making sure to maintain an air of gratitude towards Bibi Dong, even when she wasn't around. "Anyone else, even if my martial soul was something special, might not have believed me if I said I'd found a way to evolve it." After escorting Hu Liena back to the main hall, Gu Han dove into the material Bibi Dong had provided. Hu Liena watched with interest. The information clearly stated that Luo Sanpao, Gu Han's martial soul, the Holy Dragon, was a degraded variant of the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex martial soul. The documents also included details about the various forms of the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex martial soul, and the legendary evolution of the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex martial soul. It was said to rival the Golden Holy Dragon martial soul of the Six-Winged Angel. The next day arrived quickly, instead of visiting Gu Han herself, Bibi Dong had Hu Liena bring him to the Pope's palace for a meeting. After breakfast, the pair made their way to the Pope's palace. Finally, they arrived at the hall where Bibi Dong was waiting. "Greetings, teacher." Inside the magnificent, luxurious hall, Hu Liena and Gu Han bowed respectfully to Bibi Dong, who was seated at the head of the room. "Xiao Han, have you had a chance to review the information I gave you? Have you figured out what your Luo Shenglong needs to evolve?" After excusing them from being overly polite, Bibi Dong asked, a hint of anticipation in her elegant face. "Teacher, I've gone through everything, and I have a pretty good idea of the resources needed for Shenglong's evolution." Gu Han smiled confidently and proceeded to list all the resources he'd already identified for the Holy Dragon's evolution. Since the Holy Dragon is a degraded variant of the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex martial spirit, and the evolved form of the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex martial spirit is the Light Holy Dragon, with the Light attribute. We need to think long-term, so I want to feed the Holy Dragon the flesh and blood of Light attribute Dragon soul beasts, along with various spiritual medicines. If the Holy Dragon can absorb the dragon blood and the Light attribute Dragon soul beast blood, it might help it evolve into the Golden Holy Dragon. As for the spiritual medicines, the important thing is that they don't have any particular attributes, so they won't interfere with the Holy Dragon's absorption of the Light attribute Dragon soul beast blood. Plus, they're packed with energy and vitality. Eating these spiritual medicines could help the Holy Dragon evolve, and since the Holy Dragon is my martial soul, it might even pass some of that medicinal power to me, helping me cultivate faster. Gu Han finished outlining his plan, revealing the resources required for the Holy Dragon's evolution. He also preemptively mentioned that his future cultivation speed might far exceed that of a normal innate 0.25 level soul master. Light attribute Dragon soul beast flesh and blood. Bibi Dong's mature, beautiful face creased in surprise at Gu Han's choice. She'd expected him to choose lightning attribute cultivation resources after learning that Luo Sanpao was a degraded mutation of the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex martial spirit. She even anticipated him asking about the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex clan. But she didn't get any of that. Ever since the secret room incident, Bibi Dong had become jaded. Her personality was naturally cold, and the gentleness she showed was often just a mask, so Bibi Dong didn't press him. Not now, anyway. As far as she was concerned, she'd start by gathering the resources he needed. Then, if she saw real signs of the Holy Dragon evolving, she'd decide what to do next. "Alright, I'll have someone get those resources ready for you as soon as possible," she said, signaling that Gu Han and Hu Liena could leave. "Oh, and teacher, I feel like my current knowledge base isn't quite enough for me to really evolve the Holy Dragon. I have some ideas, but to truly make it happen, I need to learn more about martial souls. Could you give me a pass for the 3rd floor of the Central Library? I'd like to do some reading." With 2 Tianyen points still in his possession, Gu Han intended to use the deduction function to create a soul power cultivation method and a body training regimen, but the system needed sufficient data to deduce those methods from scratch. That meant Gu Han had to read a lot of books, so, using the evolution of the Holy Dragon as his excuse, he respectfully made his request to Bibi Dong. Chapter 8, Evil Moon and Flame, the Millennium Holy Light Earth Dragon. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Inside the Pope's palace, I never knew Gu Han had such a hunger for knowledge. Bibi Dong's beautiful face softened, a graceful elegance in her eyes. She admired him even more. Her old flame, Yu Xiaogang, had been just as eager to learn, and that thirst for knowledge, among other things, made Gu Han feel more and more like Yu Xiaogang. As a stand-in for Yu Xiaogang, the more Gu Han acted like him, the happier Bibi Dong became. "Xiao Han, I'm impressed by your drive. That's fantastic. How could I not support you?" Bibi Dong said, her eyes gentle, and produced a Pope's order from her storage device, tossing it lightly to Gu Han. The Pope's order. Hu Liena's eyes widened when she saw Bibi Dong give Gu Han the Pope's order, a symbol of the Pope's authority. She couldn't believe it. Why would she give all the Pope's orders to Xiao Han? Seeing the order was like seeing the Pope. Was the teacher really that impressed with Xiao Han? Hu Liena felt a pang of jealousy, a little sour inside, but being a sucker for a pretty face, and genuinely seeing Gu Han as a little brother, Hu Liena quickly shook it off. Nana, Xiaohan is young and only knows about the main library in Spirit Hall. But there are other restricted collections, like in the Pope's Palace. After he's done at the main library, remember to take him to those places. Bibi Dong said to Hu Liena after handing the Pope's order to Gu Han, her red lips parting with a serious tone. Got it, teacher, Hu Liena replied respectfully. After leaving the Pope's Palace, Hu Liena took Gu Han to the main library, planning to show him the third floor, which was reserved for high-ranking members of the Spirit Hall. They arrived on the third floor. It was huge, but it didn't have as many bookshelves as the first two floors. However, everything was neatly organized. Each shelf was carefully labeled. Some held books on the various factions across the continent, others were filled with information on soul beasts, like illustrated guides, the correlation between a soul beast's traits and its age, its habitat and behavior, etc. But Gu Han went straight for the spirit theory section. This was the largest section on the third floor. There were books on the fundamentals of soul master training, like the body's meridians and acupoints, the connection between spirit and meditation, and how to choose soul rings and skills. This was all data that the Tianyan system needed to work out a method for soul power cultivation and body training. Gu Han eagerly started flipping through the books, uploading all the data into the Tianyan system's database, but one day clearly wasn't enough time to go through all the books on the third floor. That night, Hu Liena had been acting strange for the past few days. She would get up and disappear. She was nowhere to be found in the morning, afternoon, or evening. She'd come back late at night. Her brother, Xiaoyu, was confused and curious, so he dragged Yan along to find Hu Liena. They found her at a restaurant. While waiting for their food, she was doting on Gu Han, giggling as she fed him spoonful after spoonful. Ah! Xiaohan, open wide, seeing his crush feeding another dude with a look of pure affection. Yan felt sick to his stomach. If the other guy wasn't just a 5 or 6-year-old kid, Yan's heart would have shattered, but even so, Gu Han had such a handsome face, with perfect features and balance. Yan felt a sense of alarm. Nana, after finding Hu Liena, Xiaoyu went over, calling her nickname, and asked with a jealous tone. Nana, who's this? Have you been with him all day? Brother, Hu Liena was a little embarrassed to see Xiaoyu. She quickly stood up and introduced Gu Han to Xiaoyu and Yan. Brother, this is Gu Han. You might have heard of him. He's the teacher's new student, and my junior brother. I've been with Xiaohan these past 2 days. The teacher asked me to help him with something. Gu Han, hearing the name, Xiaoyu and Yan looked at Gu Han with a strange expression. Gu Han had become quite the celebrity around Spirit Hall. The idea that someone with a measly 0.25 level of innate soul power could be chosen as a disciple by the Honorable Pope Bibi Dong made a lot of people curious and jealous, but hearing Gu Han's name, Yan breathed a sigh of relief and felt a bit smug. Just that lucky loser. The kid had a good look about him, and was sure to be a heartthrob one day, but Nana probably just saw him as a little brother. A loser like that probably wouldn't even become a soul master. He was from a different world than Nana, and couldn't protect her at all. Yan was the only one worthy of Nana. Knowing who Gu Han was, Xiaoyu and Yan were overly nice to him for Hu Liena's sake, but Gu Han could still tell the difference in their attitudes. Xiaoyu was treating him like a younger brother. For Hu Liena's benefit, it was a little hard to swallow, but for some reason, Yan was extra friendly. But Gu Han could always sense the arrogance and disdain in his seemingly kind behavior, as if he looked down on him. This made Gu Han uncomfortable, but Gu Han pretended not to notice. He was sincere in calling Xiaoyu and Yan brother. Regardless, the next morning, Gu Han and Hu Liena didn't have breakfast alone. They were joined by Xiaoyu and Yan. After breakfast, Gu Han was planning on going back to the library, but Bibi Dong suddenly sent someone to summon him back. Hearing the news, Gu Han rushed back. Soon, Bibi Dong arrived with a cardinal in black robes, leading a golden earth dragon soul beast. It was over 10 meters long, covered in shiny golden scales, and had a ferocious dragon head, like a lizard. Gu Han recognized it right away since he'd just seen the soul beast illustrations. It was a 1,000-year-old holy light earth dragon with light attributes. At Bibi Dong's signal, the cardinal in black threw the holy light earth dragon down, and it crashed to the ground. The earth shook. Chapter 9: The Effect of the Holy Light Earth Dragon's Flesh and Blood, Clues to its Evolution. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xiao Han, I had someone hunt this 1,000-year-old Holy Light Earth Dragon. It's a sub-dragon soul beast with light affinity. Will its meat and blood work for evolving the Holy Dragon Martial Soul? The black-robed cardinal tossed the Holy Light Earth Dragon into the yard. Bibi Dong, wearing a gorgeous dark purple robe and crown, tall and curvy, with a beautiful and mature air, stepped forward, Pope's scepter in hand. Her voice, cold yet gentle, broke the silence. Teacher, absolutely. Looking at the 10-meter-long Holy Light Earth Dragon, Gu Han couldn't help but take a deep breath. Feeling excited and a little nervous, he walked up to it. Compared to Gu Han, who was barely over a meter tall, the Holy Light Earth Dragon was a giant, its gleaming golden scales radiating majesty. Teacher, could you help me get a piece of its meat? In a burst of purple light, Gu Han summoned his martial spirit, the same as Luo Sanpao, but the Holy Dragon Martial Spirit, a piglet-like creature covered in light purple fur, with big, round ears and bright blue eyes, but lacking any sharp teeth or claws, could only watch helplessly after trotting up to the Holy Light Earth Dragon. Gu Han felt a wave of embarrassment. Realizing his martial spirit couldn't simply eat the Earth Dragon, he asked Bibi Dong for help. Bibi Dong smiled faintly and glanced at the black-robed cardinal. The cardinal bowed respectfully to Bibi Dong, then summoned a broadsword martial spirit, 6 soul rings rising beneath his feet, 2 yellow, 2 purple, and 2 black. With the broadsword ready, he approached the Holy Light Earth Dragon, aimed, and slashed, carving out a large chunk of flesh. He tossed it in front of the Holy Dragon. Lala, sensing the light energy surging from the flesh, the Holy Dragon squealed excitedly and devoured it in big gulps. Gu Han felt it immediately. It was like a furnace had ignited inside the Holy Dragon, rapidly digesting the meat. As the owner of the Holy Dragon, Gu Han clearly felt 2 new energies being absorbed. He had some ideas about what they were. One had to be the blood power from the light attribute dragon's soul beast, the other was the soul power released from digesting the Earth Dragon, because compared to the blood power, a portion of the other force was actually flowing back into Gu Han, significantly increasing his soul power. This had to be soul power. After digesting the flesh and absorbing the light attribute dragon blood and soul power, the remaining impurities clumped together inside the Holy Dragon. Normally, the Holy Dragon would process those impurities, but thanks to Gu Han's strong soul power as a time traveler, combined with the Tianyan system, he had incredible control over the Holy Dragon. He willed the Holy Dragon to spit out the ball of impurities. Xiao Han, how did you do that? Bibi Dong was stunned. She hadn't expected him to make the Holy Dragon regurgitate the partially digested meat. Teacher, I just noticed the Holy Dragon had absorbed the blood and soul power, and what was left seemed like waste, so I had it spit it out. Gu Han shrugged, unsure how to explain it. Bibi Dong, seeing his matter-of-fact attitude, managed a smile. I see. So, the Earth Dragon's flesh is really helping? Absolutely, Gu Han replied confidently. Teacher, the Holy Dragon hasn't changed much yet, but I can feel it's improving. The golden Holy Dragon blood inside it might be getting stronger. If it keeps eating light attribute dragon soul beast meat and various spiritual medicines, it might evolve into a full-blown golden Holy Dragon. Golden Holy Dragon, Bibi Dong murmured, a thoughtful look on her face. Xiaojiang, if Xiao Han's method works, if I can make Sanpao evolve into the legendary golden Holy Dragon, will you forgive me? Change your mind and come back to me. A surge of hope warmed her. Xiao Han, this is a spirit ring. I've put in various spiritual medicines like 100-year-old ginseng, purple ganoderma, and red fruit. Start with those. Let me know when you're done, and I'll get you more and better ones. Taking a deep breath, Bibi Dong handed him a ring-shaped storage device. The black-robed cardinal couldn't hide his envy at the mention of the spirit medicines. Okay, teacher. Gu Han took the virtual ring, slipped it on, and nodded excitedly, a treasure that could hold a mustard seed. Not every soul master on Douluo Continent could afford a storage device. Getting one so early was a good sign. Recognizing Bibi Dong as his teacher was paying off, but Gu Han knew her interest stemmed from the possibility of this method working on Yu Xiaojiang's Luo Sanpao. He needed to prove his worth, to show significant changes in the Holy Dragon, to get more resources from Bibi Dong. The thought lit a fire under him. Time flew by. 2 or 3 months passed in a flash. During that time, Bibi Dong regularly had light attribute dragon soul beasts hunted and brought to Guhan's courtyard for the holy dragon to devour. With the constant supply of meat and spirit medicines, the holy dragon finally started changing. Golden scales began to appear, and its round pig head started to transform, becoming more angular, more draconic, with sharp teeth and golden eyes. Bibi Dong was ecstatic. This confirmed her hopes that Guhan's evolutionary method could work for Luo Sanpao. Chapter 10 Holy Dragon Kung Fu and Holy Dragon Body Building Method. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. But the fact that a kid like Guhan figured out how to evolve the Luo Sanpao spirit, it's ironic, considering that Yu Xiaogang, the self-proclaimed spirit theory guru, spent over a decade chasing that same evolution, only to turn Luo Sanpao into a farting joke. Bibi Dong felt a rush of conflicting emotions and sighed. She realized the lover she'd put on a pedestal couldn't even hold a candle to this child. It was a tough pill to swallow, no matter how she tried to deny it, but it didn't change her feelings for Yu Xiaogang. Back when they were together, dreaming of running away, Bibi Dong was just a naive girl blinded by love. Yu Xiaogang was just a smooth-talking jerk, but after Qiang Sunji forced her into that secret chamber, Bibi Dong became someone else. Yu Xiaogang wasn't just an ex anymore, he was the pure, untainted memory in her heart, the only spot of light in her personal hell. Before she confronted her feelings for her daughter, Qian Renxue, Yu Xiaogang was the one thing keeping Bibi Dong going. The most important person in her life. Discovering that Guhan's martial soul evolution idea actually worked, Bibi Dong doubled down on her investment in him. She practically lived in the Star Do Great Forest, hunting 10,000-year light attribute dragon spirit beasts for Guhan and hauling them back to Spirit Hall. She even dragged Ju Douluo Yueguan and Ghost Douluo Guime along on one of these hunting trips to convince them, especially Yueguan, to help Guhan find more spirit medicine. When they saw the holy dragon Guhan summoned, Ju Douluo Yuguan and Ghost Douluo Guime were blown away. This martial soul was the real deal. The kid really cracked the code for martial soul evolution. He was a natural. As high-ranking elders in Spirit Hall, Ju Douluo Yuguan and Ghost Douluo Guime knew about Bibi Dong and Yu Xiaojiang's past. They knew all about Yu Xiaogang and his Luo Sanpao. Let's face it, the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex's embarrassing final form, whose soul skill is still a soul beast that can only fart, is hard to forget. And yet, here was the same Luo Sanpao martial soul. That loser Yu Xiaogang had been in Spirit City for almost 20 years, searching for a way to evolve his martial soul, and came up empty. But Guhan, this young kid, just figured it out. It was astounding. This Guhan was the real deal. No wonder the Pope took him as her disciple. Initially, Chrysanthemum Douluo Yueguan and Ghost Douluo Guime were only nice to Guhan because they knew he was a replacement for Yu Xiaogang in Bibi Dong's heart. They were afraid of upsetting Bibi Dong if they treated him badly. But now that they saw Guhan had actually discovered a working method for martial soul evolution, they were convinced. Compared to Yu Xiaogang, who was basically a waste of space, Guhan had genuine talent for martial soul theory. They gained a newfound respect for him, and over the past couple of months, the martial soul holy dragon chowed down on light attribute dragon spirit beast meat and spirit medicine. After digesting the flesh and blood of various dragon soul beasts with light attributes and absorbing the blood power of the dragon soul beasts with light attributes contained in the flesh and blood of these dragon soul beasts with light attributes, the blood of the golden holy dragon in the body of the Wuhun holy dragon grew stronger, and its appearance changed to that of the golden holy dragon. After digesting the flesh and blood of various dragon soul beasts and spiritual medicines with light attributes, and absorbing the soul power and medicinal power contained in them, the Wuhun holy dragon also fed a lot of soul power back to Guhan's body. This made Guhan's soul power level also increase rapidly. Besides feeding his holy dragon, Guhan spent his free time buried in books at the central library, collecting data. When he felt the time was right, Guhan decided to use his remaining 2 Tianyen points to deduce a soul power cultivation method and a body training method. System. I'm using my last 2 Tianyen points for the deduction function. I want a soul power cultivation method and a body training method. Back in his room that night, Guhan sat on the big soft bed, a hint of excitement on his face, and spoke to the system. Ding! 2 Tianyan points spent. System initiating deduction. The system's cold, mechanical voice echoed in his mind. The system began furiously crunching all the martial soul data he'd collected from the central library, a few minutes later. Ding! Congratulations, host. Soul power cultivation method successfully deduced. Estimated cultivation speed is 300 times faster than the meditation method of the meditation martial soul holy dragon. Please name this soul power cultivation method. Ding! Congratulations, host. Body refining method successfully deduced. Expected to greatly improve physical fitness, and allow control over qi and blood after reaching a certain level. Please name this body refining method. Point 2 streams of information flooded Gu Han's mind. Naturally, these were the soul power cultivation method and the body training method the system had deduced. The soul power cultivation method outlined the meridian routes to follow while cultivating from soul master to title Douluo. The body training method comprised 9 sets of body refining postures with supporting breathing and standing techniques. The 9 postures, combined with the breathing techniques, would activate and strengthen his life force, improving his physique. By integrating this life energy with yang energy and heat energy, he could convert it into qi and blood. The standing method would tighten his pores, allowing him to sense and control the qi and blood within his body. This qi and blood would strengthen his body, increasing his strength, speed, and defense. It could be continuously improved by absorbing vitality, which could be replenished through food. Since his martial soul was the holy dragon, Gu Han named the soul power cultivation method the holy dragon technique. He named the body training method the Holy Dragon Body Forging Method, which included the Holy Dragon 9-style body forging diagram, the breathing method, and the Holy Dragon stance. After deducing the Holy Dragon technique and the Holy Dragon body forging method, Gu Han started practicing daily, and over the past 2 or 3 months, thanks to the soul power feedback from the Holy Dragon devouring light attribute dragon spirit beast meat and spirit medicine, and with daily, relentless practice of the Holy Dragon technique, Gu Han finally broke through to level 10. He could now hunt for soul rings and become a soul master.